10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, and good day wherever you are on the World Wide Web from New York. This is Saturday, January 16. This is the New York Connection, and I am Harold Paisity. Well, the Independence breeze is blowing comfortably in New York as plans get underway for the celebration of the 42nd anniversary. The first event is next Saturday with the social evening and cultural extravaganza. So what is the cultural extravaganza? We'll be finding everything about it soon. We'll also have the West Indies Cricket Roundup. So the cultural extravaganza and social evening will kick off the celebrations of the 42nd anniversary of independence in these parts. And joining me this morning from the Independence Committee is Igel Joseph, and we'll be chatting about that cultural extravaganza. Igel, I know it's a bit late, but Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, sir.
All right, great. So what can you tell us about plans for the this cultural extravaganza coming off next Saturday?
Well, all the planning are on the way, and after months of meeting, we are finally kicking off with our first event this Saturday coming, which is the social evening and the cultural extravaganza. This is our first event, as I said, so we actually starting off the whole independence celebrations in New York on Saturday. So this year, there's like a merger of two events. Usually we have the social evening as one event, but this year we thought that it would have been more beneficial if we put the two together. So what people can look forward to this year would be like a culinary exhibition where various chefs from Grenada would come and display various dishes, and people would have the opportunity to sample those dishes. And I know a lot of folks probably in a long time they haven't gotten an opportunity to eat some oil dung or to get some confectionaries and so forth from Grenada. So that would be one of the highlights of the evening. And like we said, it's a social evening, so we're encouraging all Grenadians to come out and to, just to be able to see each other. Sometimes you may not have seen a friend for a very long, long time, and at these events you get an opportunity to meet up with your old pals. So we're encouraging everybody to come on out. It's going to be at Holy Cross RC School on Bedford, on Church and Bedford, Church between Bedford and Rogers, sorry. And we're extending an invitation to everyone to come on out and just celebrate our independence. It's a free activity. There is no cost to it, so I don't see any reason why we should not have a good turnout.
Well, that idea is pretty noble, Igel, because usually the social evening always had food and drinks, but it was indiscriminately done in the sense that anybody cook something and bring it in. But now you're incorporating the various chefs from Grenada to display the dishes to be tasted. I think that's great because for them, from a professional standpoint, they're advertising themselves, and then again, for folks to come on and eat some good food prepared by pros, huh?
Yeah. Well, the whole idea is that we market in Grenada because there will be a lot of visitors, people from other islands and various parts of the world. As you know, New York City is like a melting pot with a lot of people from various countries. So we're hoping that we can get people from various nationalities who can come and and get a taste of Grenada, see what we do, see the way we cook our food, see how we call it. Because sometimes even the food that we have, people cook the same food in other countries, but they call it a different name. So it's always good when we can have the whole community come together and support and to celebrate with us as we celebrate our 42nd year of independence here in New York City.
Okay, so tell us about the cultural part of it now. How would that be going?
Well, the idea of it is to present Grenada's culture, present the way we as a people, the way we live, I do not want to give everything away, but what I can say is that when folks come to the event on Saturday night, they would be seeing various aspects of our culture. And I like to refer to myself as a cultural person. I like every aspect of our Grenadian culture. I think it identifies us as a people. It says who we are. And I really think that through events like these, we can really get to show the world what Grenada has to offer, not just one set of, not just one aspect, but various aspects of our culture. So we are going to be displaying, like I said, different aspects of our culture. One of the things that folks can look forward to is a segment that deals with our local folklore, like our folk tales. I don't know if you could remember, growing up, probably they would have told you stories about Doom Doom and Papiot and Laja Bless and Suku and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very concerned that like these things are being forgotten. A lot of our young people may not know of these stories and know of those characters. So it's an effort to remind us and to ensure that it stays and it does not fade away as time goes by, due to modernization and social media and so forth. So I think as a people, we really need to tell our children and make sure those stories go down from generation to generation, just as it has been, that oral tradition had been passed down to people like me. I'm hoping that we can continue that for many, many more generations to come so that we do not lose our identity.
Okay, great. So the social evening and cultural extravaganza is next Saturday.
Next Saturday, 7 p.m.
Yes, at 7 p.m. at the Holy Cross Church, 2520 Church Avenue in Brooklyn. That's between Bedford and Rogers.
And it's a free event, and everyone, you're invited to come on out to celebrate with us.
Great. And Saturday, January the 30th, it's the Miss Grenada Independence Pageant and Youth Fest. Mm-hmm. That's at the Mahalia Jackson High School, 790 East New York Avenue, between Troy and Schenectady.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, January 31st, the ecumenical service, the full gospel assembly at 131 Sullivan Place between Bedford and Rogers. That begins at 4 p.m. And then Saturday, February the 6th, the big gala, the dinner dance, Night of Elegance. $120 to get into that. Grand Prospect Hall, 263 Prospect Avenue. That's between 5th and 6th Avenues. And then Independence Day, you can relax and celebrate in your own way.
Yeah.
And remembering our country in prayer. Don't forget that comes first. And then Thursday, February the 11th, the Seniors Tea Party at the Bethany United Methodist Church at 1208 St. John's Place between Troy and Albany. So events kicking off for independence celebrations in these spots. Igel, I know the organizing committee is ready and we're looking forward to a bumper year again.
Yes, we're really looking forward to it. And as I always say, it's an honor for me to serve Grenada out here in the diaspora. We're really working hard and, to make independence a memorable experience every year. And every year it keeps getting better and better. So I just want to take this opportunity to invite everyone who are listening to the sound of my voice to come on out, support all of the activities. They're well planned. They will be well executed, and it's for our people. Invite your friends, especially from the other islands, from other countries, to come out and see what Grenada has to offer.
Okay, Igel, well, thank you so much and all success.
Thank you very much, sir, and God bless you and have a great day.
All right. Well, remember that the memorial service for Carlos Busy Thomas comes off this evening. Yeah, it is this evening at 6:30 at the St. Therese of Lisieux RC Church at 4402 Avenue D in Brooklyn. That's between Troy and East 45th. Carlos Busy Thomas, former assistant coordinator of sport games master of the GBSS, national football coach, teacher. Yeah, he recently passed, but he's still remembered, yes, and that memorial service this evening at 6:30 at the St. Therese of Lisieux RC Church, 4402 Avenue D, that's between Troy and East 45th. There'll be a reception to follow, so you're invited to be a part of that. New York Connection, Harold Picety in New York. Now it's time for the West Indies Cricket Roundup. Well, we begin the roundup with looking at the results of the game played yesterday in the Nagico Super 50 tournament being played in Trinidad and Tobago and St. Kitts. Well, at Warner Park in St. Kitts, the combined campuses and colleges defeated a poor-looking Windward Islands by 91 runs. Batting first, the CCC made 157 all-out in 47.5 overs, with Rovman Powell making 71 from 116 balls. Bowling for the Windwards, Delon Johnson bagged 6 for 37 in 9.5 overs, with an economy rate of 3.76. Now, you would think with a performance like that, it would be easy sailing for the Windward Islands, but no, they were bundled out for 66 in 23 overs, my golly. For at the CCC, Chamar Holder picked up 5 for 22 in 6 overs. While defending champions, Trinidad and Tobago made minced meat out of the ICC Americas at the Queen's Park Oval, winning by 9 wickets. ICC Americas could only muster 81 in 26 overs when they batted Imran Khan 4 for 25. TNT got the runs in 12.5 overs. At the National Cricket Centre in Couva, Trinidad, Barbados got the better of Jamaica by 73 runs. Batting first, Barbados totaled 246 for 9 in the allotted 50 overs. Dwayne Smith top scored with 86 from 101 balls. Jamaican captain John Campbell took 3 for 57 and Jerome Taylor back in the team 2 for 30. In reply, Jamaica could only gather 173 in 46.5 overs. In St. Kitts, Guyana came out on top of the Leeward Islands by 7 wickets. Leewards batting first were all out for 172 in 49.4 overs. Guyana, in reply, 174 for 3 in 46.2. The evergreen Shivnarine Chandapal was left not out on 57. While looking at the point standings in Group A, Trinidad and Tobago leading with 22 points and already qualified for the semis. Barbados 14 points and Jamaica 10. Well, Barbados could be the next qualifier, because Guyana and the Windwards in Group B are already in the semis, both on 14 points at the moment. So that's where we're at in the Nagico Super 50. Well, not too good for the West Indies under-19s in Bangladesh. Not doing well at all in preparation for the World Cup that's coming up in just a few days. They were beaten by Bangladesh in the third warm-up by 16 runs. Bangladesh batting first, 235 for 7 in their 50 overs. Opener Saif Hassan centuried with 107 from 147 balls, and Shafiul Hayat 61. For the Windies, bowling, Odin Smith, Kirsten Kalicharan and Gidron Pope all picked up 2 wickets. The Windies under-19 in reply, 219 all-out in 49.5 overs, with opener Gidron Pope getting 57 in 48 balls. Well, some good news. The West Indies have claimed the number 1 spot in the ICC T20 rankings after Sri Lanka, who had largely occupied the top round since they won the World T20 in 2014, were caned by New Zealand in Auckland last Sunday. West Indies have 118.36 rating points and are now marginally ahead of both Sri Lanka and Australia, who have exactly 118 rating points each. West Indies have played 8 matches since the end of the World T20 in April of 2014 and won 4 of them. That includes a world record chase against South Africa in January of 2015. They gunned down 232 in 19.2 overs. Remember that game? Well, coincident to that has been Sri Lanka's fall. They have lost 5 of their last 6 matches, the latest a 9-wicket drubbing as New Zealand raced to their target of 143 in a mere 10 overs. Sri Lanka had begun the 2-match series with a 7-point lead, but losing 2-0 meant that they were yet to win a T20 series since becoming the World T20 champions, although they beat England in a one-off match in May, and they were pushed off their number 1 slot. While West Indies, fare far worse in the other formats. They are number 8 in tests, after losing the Frank Worrell Trophy 2-0 and number 9 in ODIs. Boy oh boy. Well, some more good news. Grenadian Afi Fletcher is included in a strong West Indies women's side for next month's tour of South Africa and the T20 World Cup, which follows in March. The 15-member side will be led by Stephanie Taylor and includes the likes of former captain Marissa Aguilera, Deandra Dottin, twins Keisha and Kishona Knight, and experienced former vice-captain Anisa Mohammed. West Indies Cricket Board selector Courtney Brown said the squad was an impressive one, which had been developing well over the last year. West Indies women were coming off a strong showing against Pakistan last year when they won the 4-match one-day series 3-1 and the subsequent T20 series 3-0. The squad, along with the 5 reserve players, will be involved in a training camp from the 28th of this month to February the 8th at the West Indies High Performance Centre at the UWE Cafel campus in Barbados. West Indies women play 3 ODIs and 3 T20 on the tour of South Africa, which runs from February 12th to March the 10th. The T20 World Cup is set for March 15th to April 3rd in India. The West Indies women's squad: Stephanie Taylor, captain; Shakira Selman, vice-captain; Marissa Aguilera, Shemaine Campbell, Shamelia Connell, Brittany Cooper, Deandra Dottin, Afi Fletcher, Stacey Ann King, Keisha Knight, Kishona Knight, Hayley Matthews, Anisa Mohammed, Shakona Quintin, and Tremaine Smart. All good luck to the ladies. Well, Chris Gayle, Dwayne Bravo, Andre Russell, Kieron Pollard, Sunil Narine, and Darren Sammy will be eligible for selection for upcoming tournaments, including the World T20, despite not being given annual retainer contracts by the West Indies Cricket Board. The only condition the WICB has placed is that the players will need to meet the criteria set in place by the selection panel led by former West Indies captain Clive Lloyd. The 6 players are not part of the group of 15 who were given retainer contracts for the period between October 1st, 2015 to September 30th, 2016. According to Michael Merhead, the WICB's chief executive, the selectors had shortlisted 15 players for the contracts based on certain criteria that were drawn, keeping in mind the future of West Indies cricket. Merhead pointed out that the aforementioned 6 players, including Sammy, who captains the West Indies T20 side, did not fit into the selection panel's vision and hence were not given a contract. Merhead said the selectors did the retainers based on where they saw West Indies cricket going and the philosophy which they wanted to encourage and adopt, principally being loyalty and commitment to build the longer form of the game. According to Merhead, the 15 players were shortlisted by the panel and endorsed by the WICB based on the combination of their performances in the regional tournaments as well as their attitude. Still, Merhead insisted the 6 players should not misread the situation, as they would be eligible for forthcoming series if the selectors deemed fit. Some of the 6 players have failed to feature in the list of contracted players in the past for reasons ranging from disputes with the WICB to voluntarily declining the retainer. In January 2015, Gayle and Narine had refused the retainer contracts as they wanted to focus on playing domestic T20 leagues around the world where they are marquee players. Merhead said most of the players had made the decision to make themselves unavailable because they wanted to be free to play in the T20 leagues to earn more money, and they took that business decision to do so. Merhead also stressed that most of the 6 players had already made public their intentions of not playing Test cricket. In the last 2 years, Bravo and Sammy announced their retirement from Test cricket. Pollard has never played Test cricket and is seen by selectors as a limited overs specialist. Although Lloyd has always been keen for Russell to play Test cricket, the all-rounder told the chairman of selectors he would like to play only limited overs cricket due to a bad knee. Narine, who has played 6 tests, is busy remodeling his bowling action after he was suspended by the ICC in November last year. While only Gayle, a 103 test veteran, has openly stated he is still keen to return to Test cricket this year. And captain of the West Indies cricket team, Jason Holder, despite being drafted, will not participate in the upcoming inaugural Pakistan Super League 2020 tournament. as he has been denied a no-objection certificate by the West Indies Cricket Board. In a comment posted on Twitter, Holder thanked franchise team Quetta Gladiators for selecting him, but expressed that he has not been granted permission to take up the offer. Holder, one of 15 players with central retained WICB contracts, would have joined several of the world leading players for the February 4 to 23 championship in the United Arab Emirates. These include non-contracted players Chris Gayle, Darren Bravo, Andre Russell, Darren Sammy, Lendl Simmons, and Samuel Badri. That should read Dwayne Bravo, actually. Dwayne Bravo. Well, the West Indies board, in a response to a query as to the official reason behind the non-issuance of the no-objection certificate to Holder, said it was based on an organizational policy. Marketing and Communications Manager Carol Beckford said the WICB has created the window for its retained players to participate in the Indian Premier League and the Caribbean Premier League. The captain is among the retained players and has an obligation to participate in the domestic competitions. Alan Stanford, you remember him? Well, the American jailed fraudster who put millions of dollars in the pockets of West Indian cricketers in his Stanford T20 tournament in Antigua recently gave his first interview to the BBC since in prison. Stanford was indicted in 2009 for carrying out the second largest investment scam in U.S. history, a crime for which he is serving a 110-year prison term. Stanford told the BBC he is very sad about the damage his conviction did to the sports, especially to the English board. In 2008, the former billionaire signed a controversial agreement with the English and Wales Cricket Board for a multi-million-pound series of matches. While in a notorious publicity stunt, Stanford flew into Lord's aboard a private helicopter laden with a treasure chest filled with fake dollar notes. But the following year, the board was left humiliated when Stanford was charged with fraud worth $8 billion US. Let's listen now to Alan Stanford in the BBC interview.
Well, that was when Giles Clarke was, I'm not sure if Giles is still the head person now.
He's no longer the chairman of the ECB, no.
Okay. He and I got along well, and David, I cannot think of his last name.
Collier, David Collier.
Collier, yes. I think the world of David Collier. I don't know where he fits in anymore, but I think the world of David, and we got along well. My dealings with the English Cricket Board was one of professionalism and one of mutual respect. And I love cricket. I love the West Indies. There's no question whatsoever. In the West Indies, we have the greatest physical, athletic talent for cricket anywhere in the world. They were just being diverted into other, whether it's basketball or soccer or other avenues, or there just wasn't a real incentive for them to stay and play in a sport that had not kept track with the 21st century and the modernization not only of the sport through 2020, but also the way it's paid and played, and the high-tech whiz and the athletes are superstars now and all of that.
I mean, the critics will say that your investment in the game was just you using the sport to try and promote your own image, your own reputation. You were using cricket. What would you say to that?
I would say they're absolutely correct in the regard that I was trying to grow the Stanford brand globally. I mean, anybody would be foolish not to spend the money, and I spent about $30-odd million in cricket in the West Indies, in addition to what I spent on the 2020 for 20 tournament. But I certainly did want and expect to grow the Stanford brand globally and get a return on that investment in terms of business sense. But then what nobody really understood was that I anticipated that with this new generation of players that we were going to uncover, and with, as you can only play it in the Caribbean, where you have the island against island competition, and with this very unique cricket ground that I built in Antigua, and built it as a television platform, and we proved that. When we had our first cricket tournament, we broadcast that, and I gave the television rights away globally. We had over 1 billion people watch our matches, and that was the island against island. That wasn't the 2020 for 20. At the end of the day, though, what my goal was to have a vehicle where I could uncover new talent, would be able to then take the money that this tournament generated and plow that money back into the island so they could develop their own programs, home grow these young athletes, bring them to the Stanford 2020. Then we would pick the best players out of the tournament, and these would not be the superstars that currently play for the West Indies. These would be unknown young guys. I would then take those superstars to be these unknowns, create a Stanford superstar team, and then we would play the English national team once a year, one game, one night, for $20 million, winner take all.
But that plan, as far as the ECB are concerned, and England cricket generally, backfired on them. I mean, they're highly embarrassed by the association with you now. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's very sad. I'm very sad. I mean, I have nothing but respect for the English Cricket Board, and I love the sport of cricket, but I particularly love the West Indies. West Indies is my home, and I love the people there, and I love the cricket the way it's played there. But I'm very sorry. It breaks my heart, and there's nothing I can say other than that was not caused by Alan Stanford. That was caused by the wrongful prosecution of an overzealous and a wrongful prosecution by the Security Exchange Commission and the Department of Justice of the United States, and the ripple effect around the world.
Should that money go back, the money that the ECB earned from you, should that be given to the victims that have suffered as a result of your conviction? Of which there are thousands, of course.
No, absolutely not. The money should be coming from the Security Exchange Commission.
When we think back to the helicopter landing at Lord's, the big box of cash, the ostentatious lifestyle, the cricket matches, do you regret any of that? Was it too much? Did you stretch yourself too far?
Well, first of all, let's go through those assets. I owned 6 jets. I had a Global Express, 2 Gulfstreams, and 3 Hawker jets. All of those were corporate aircraft. They were all used for business purposes. I did primarily use the Global Express, and without that, I could not have done what I did, which was travel constantly, and I worked my rear end off. So to that end, I needed the airplanes, and I was one of the wealthiest men on the planet. And anybody in my position would have his own airplane, much less in a corporate environment. You're going to have planes because we had businesses doing business in 140 countries and offices in 14 countries. We had to travel constantly, and those planes were necessary. The opulent lifestyle is really a funny thing to me. What is opulent? What is opulent? I had a 112-foot sport yacht. Is that a big boat? Of course it is. If you have a 14-foot boat as your dream boat, but if you are Larry Ellison and you've got 3 or 4 300-foot boats, maybe it's no more than a tender. It's all relevant. It's all relevant to where you are in life. I lived very modestly in terms of how I could have lived. My lifestyle was one, in terms of my profile, probably that was much bigger than how I actually lived personally.
I must ask, is cricket still something which you follow inside? Is that a release still for you, an enjoyment, or do you not get the chance to watch at all now?
Well, I don't have my... cricket's not a very big sport in prison. I've had to educate some of the guys what cricket's all about. So we occasionally I run into a guy from the West Indies that filters through the system here, and of course they know who I am, and we immediately have a talk. But cricket is not played on any of the few televisions that are available here.
Alan Stanford also spoke about his life in prison.
Physically, I'm doing very well. I keep myself in good shape and have been able to weather this storm from hell probably better than most people could have, and you don't really know what you're made of until these things unfortunately come your way, and nobody ever in their wildest imagination, I certainly never did, thought I would spend now nearly 7 years of my life in a United States penitentiary and be subjected to things that are really horrific.
The last time most of us here in the UK saw you, Alan, you were landing your helicopter on the hallowed turf at Lord's Cricket Ground back in 2008 with a big box full of dollar notes. Now you're in a maximum security prison serving life, having been convicted of fraud on a massive scale. Is it hard to believe sometimes the scale of your fall?
I laugh because that is probably the greatest understatement in terms of a question, and my response would be the greatest understatement in terms of a response that I could give. So to answer your question, it is hard to believe every single waking moment that I'm in this penitentiary, and now going on almost 7 years of this hell. It is still hard to realize.
Alan Stanford. And that's a wrap, folks. You can... what happened here? Okay. You can join me again, same time, next Saturday for another program. Harold Pye City in the Big Apple. Have yourselves a blessed week.